I became a Christian in high school, at a church that jumped up and down to Hillsong music. I honestly thought that if Christian revival is going to ever happen in this world, groups like Hillsong and Bethel were going to lead that revival. Contemporary Christian music just seemed so full of emotion, energy, and the Holy Spirit. But then, I started learning more about the Bible, and I started discovering that a lot of the most popular contemporary Christian music artists were saying and doing things that didn't really seem Christian. This is the story of the tragic collapse of some of the most popular artists in the Christian music industry. But don't worry, there is some hope at the end. Hillsong is an Australian megachurch known globally for its contemporary worship music, including songs like Oceans, and What a Beautiful Name.
What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is, you sing.
Churches all across the world use Hillsong music in their worship services, including the one I became a Christian at. I thought everything about Hillsong was just amazing, until I started learning more, both about what the Bible teaches and about Hillsong as a church. And what I found was troubling. The list of pastors that Hillsong endorses and platforms is pretty unsettling.
Hillsong has been the host to practically every well-known false teacher that soils the landscape of evangelicalism today. They endorse everyone. Bill Johnson has spoken there numerous times.
Keep in mind that name, Bill Johnson, because we're going to get to him and Bethel Church in a little bit.
Recently, Bill Johnson, you name it, they endorse Kenneth Copeland, they endorse Joel Osteen, they endorse Benny Hinn, all of them.
Kenneth Copeland is one of the most blatant prosperity preacher charlatans.
Whatever you do right now, don't you stop tithing. Don't you stop sowing offerings.
Yet here's Brian Houston, the founder and former senior pastor of Hillsong, who has since resigned due to some scandals, praising Kenneth Copeland.
Well, Kenneth Copeland, your beautiful wife Gloria, Brian and Bobby Houston from Hillsong Church in Australia and around the world, and we just want to thank you and congratulate you for 40 years of ministry in our great country, Australia, teaching, preaching, pointing people to Jesus, encouraging people to live by faith and see kingdom possibilities. We are very, very proud to know you and very, very blessed by the work that you have done, and thank God for the impact you've had on people like us and on churches like Hillsong. And I want to encourage you, just keep going. There's more to come. Be blessed.
T.D. Jakes has also spoken at Hillsong conferences.
Hillsong, make some noise!
There are several really big problems with T.D. Jakes, such as his refusal to explicitly affirm the Christian view of the Trinity and his unashamed promotion of the prosperity gospel. Brian Houston was the senior pastor of Hillsong, and Carl Lentz was the pastor of Hillsong NYC. I say was because Carl was basically fired, and Brian resigned due to scandals. Carl was a rock star celebrity pastor, known for being close with celebrities like Justin Bieber and Kevin Durant. However, in 2020, it was discovered that Carl had an affair, which he admitted was a big moral failure on his part.
Did he tell you he loved you?
Yes, he did.
Did you love him?
After that, Hillsong Church fired Carl, saying he had broken their trust and didn't live up to the standards they expected from their leaders. This event basically began a downward spiral for Hillsong, but it got worse. In 2022, Brian Houston resigned from Hillsong Church, following allegations of inappropriate behavior towards two women, including sending inappropriate text messages and spending time in a hotel room with a woman while intoxicated.
He went drinking in the hotel bar with a group from the conference.
And there was a woman part of that group.
The woman, a major Hillsong donor, was also staying here. When the drinking ended, Brian Houston went upstairs, but not to his room. He would later claim he'd lost his room key. He's intoxicated with alcohol and anxiety medication, wandering around the halls of a hotel after the Hillsong conference.
In all that hotel, he knocked on the door of the one person he knew.
This woman has not said there was any sexual activity. Brian said there was no sexual activity. but he was in the room for 40 minutes.
Sadly, there was enough detail to pour ultimate shame and humiliation on, but enough ambiguity to leave people to make their own conclusions about what did or didn't happen.
These incidents were deemed violations of the church's code of conduct, and Houston blamed them on stress, sleep deprivation, and alcohol use. In addition to this, he was facing legal charges for allegedly concealing his father Frank Houston's sexual abuse of a child in the 1970s. Amid growing concerns and public backlash, Houston resigned from Hillsong.
The founder of the megachurch Hillsong, Brian Houston, has resigned after an internal investigation found he behaved inappropriately towards 2 women.
For all of the reasons mentioned so far, and more, Hillsong has betrayed the trust of Christians and neglected its duty to faithfully teach the gospel of Jesus Christ as it is revealed in the Bible. Bethel is a California-based church and music collective, famous for their modern worship songs. It's about as popular as Hillsong in terms of the number of churches that regularly sing Bethel songs during their worship services. But also, like with Hillsong, beneath the relatively innocent lyrics of its songs lie some disturbing secrets. Bill Johnson is one of the most radical prosperity gospel, health and wealth preachers out there. Take a look at the unbelievable answer that Bill gives here.
Question number 2. Does God ever choose not to heal? No. God chose 2,000 years ago to make a purchase.
Bill said that God never chooses not to heal, but the Bible nowhere guarantees healing for everyone. If God always heals, then I wonder why Bill is wearing glasses. Why hasn't Bill asked God to heal his nearsightedness? Bill also teaches a doctrine called kenosis, which is a heresy related to who Jesus is.
Do you know that Jesus so restricted his function on earth that he actually couldn't heal anyone? He couldn't multiply food. He couldn't cast out devils. He couldn't do any of that stuff because he had restricted himself to the life of a human being.
And this is only the tip of the iceberg regarding the many, many extremely unbiblical things that Bill Johnson and Bethel Church teach.
Bethel comes, it is Word of Faith, New Apostolic Reformation. This movement, this health and wealth prosperity gospel, Word of Faith movement, it is rooted in the metaphysical cults like Christian Science, New Age, Gnosticism, and it has a very aberrant view of God, a very aberrant view of man, a very aberrant Christology. They teach that they teach the little gods doctrine, that we are all little gods, which has a whole lot more in common with Mormonism than it does anything.
It's only natural then that we would find that at least some of Bethel's songs communicate the disturbing theology that Bethel teaches. For example, there's this one song by Bethel called Champion, which promotes the unbiblical Word of Faith theology.
Now this is where the problem starts right here. Right here. All right? It says this: when I lift my voice and shout, every wall comes crashing down. Whoa. Hold on a second. What are we talking about? Wait.
Some say this is just referring to the story of Joshua and the walls of Jericho. But this song is saying we can do the same thing today when the story of Joshua took place in a very specific context that isn't the same as today.
Now let's keep going. When I open my mouth, miracles start breaking out. Stop. You see, this is the problem with some of the music today. It is promoting a man-centered gospel. It is slowly trying to slide in there this little gods theology, this word faith theology that says that, you know what, because God created the world in 7 days and he created it using his words, and if we are created in the image of God, then therefore we also have the power to create things with our words. We're also able to speak things into existence. And so because God is able to open his mouth and he is able to perform miracles, then therefore we have the same authority because Jesus gave us the authority, and therefore whenever I open my mouth, miracles can happen.
For the people who think Ellen is reading too much into Bethel's lyrics, we've already talked about how the little gods doctrine and the Word of Faith theology is exactly what Bethel teaches and promotes. So it makes complete sense that Bethel would communicate this theology in its songs. And this is all only the very tip of the iceberg regarding the dark and disturbing things associated with Bethel and its music. For one of the largest Christian music groups in the world, there's something actually pretty demonic. demonic, behind the church that it is built on. Elevation is a worship band associated with Elevation Church in North Carolina, and its pastor, Stephen Furtick. Along with Hillsong and Bethel, Elevation is one of the big three in Christian worship music. But like with Hillsong and Bethel, there is more to the music than meets the eye. Stephen Furtick is a very controversial pastor, and for good reason. His teachings, similar to Joel Osteen, are extremely man-centered and focus on human potential, rather than on people being desperately in need of a savior because of sin against an infinitely holy and righteous God.
The process of discipleship is not God changing you into something else. It's Him revealing who you've been all along.
And that unbiblical view of human nature basically characterizes Stephen's teachings.
It's always been in you. That teaching gift has always been in you. You just had to get past what you would put on yourself. The idea that I'm not a preacher, I'm just a little girl.
It's virtually impossible to find a Stephen Furtick sermon about the seriousness of sin, hell, or the wrath of God. But this is an essential aspect of the gospel that is the starting point for recognizing one's need for salvation in the first place. T.D. Jakes is one of the most notorious promoters of the heretical prosperity gospel.
God will always use whatever you got left. The blessing isn't in what you lost. The blessing is in what you got left. And if you will sow what you got left, God said, I'll give you back whatever it was.
But Stephen treats Jakes as if he is the greatest pastor who ever lived.
How many have ever listened to Bishop Jakes preach and you're like, does he have the same Bible that I have? I never...
This is the kind of foundation that lies beneath Elevation Music's popular songs, and it's both extremely dangerous and basically not Christian. For some reason, the churches behind the biggest supposedly Christian music groups seem to be barely Christian, if they are even truly Christian at all. There's something very unhealthy about the state of Christian music today, but Hillsong, Bethel, and Elevation are only the tip of the iceberg when we look at the whole of contemporary Christian music today. Kirk Franklin is a key figure in gospel music, recognized for his influence on the evolution of contemporary gospel and its crossover into mainstream audiences. Kirk is one of the most visible figures in the world of Christian music, but there's a dark side to Kirk as well. I'm not sure what exactly Kirk is trying to communicate by doing this, but he has chosen to dress like a woman in several of his performances. Here he is wearing pink lipstick, and here's Kirk wearing a red dress. A lot of Christians are wondering why Kirk is going out of his way to blur the lines between men and women, especially in Western culture, where so many people are already confused about these lines, and whatever the answer is, it's probably not a good answer. Kirk has a really troubled relationship with his son, who is certainly not a hero in this either, but who recorded some really disturbing language that Kirk used towards him. Kirk did apologize after receiving a lot of backlash about this, but the question a lot of Christians have is, why is someone like Kirk considered a leader in Christian music? There's no doubt he is very talented, but is talent what is most important when it comes to Christian music? Some would say character and spiritual maturity should be prioritized more, but there are many more immensely popular Christian music artists who have made decisions that have many Christians scratching their heads. Llewellyn Daigle is one of the most popular Christian music artists today, whose style is generally in the pop genre. She's been on American Idol and The Ellen DeGeneres Show, which demonstrates just how popular and influential she is. But as she became more and more popular, Llewellyn seemed to want to distance herself from the more controversial teachings of the Christian faith. Here's what she said on the Domenick Nati show about one such controversial teaching.
Do you feel that homosexuality is a sin?
You know, I can't honestly answer on that, in the sense of I have too many people that I love that they are homosexual. I don't know. I actually had a conversation with someone last night about it, and I was like, I can't say one way or the other. I'm not God. So when people ask questions like that, that's what my go-to is. Like, I just say read the Bible and find out for yourself. And when you find out, let me know, because I'm learning too.
There are more examples of Llewellyn distancing herself from the label of being Christian, but what she said here is representative of the impression that she's actually embarrassed of her Christian faith and would rather not be associated with the controversial teachings of the Bible. And by prioritizing success and popularity in the culture above faithfulness to Christian teachings, Llewellyn is another popular, supposedly Christian music artist whose music can hardly be considered Christian anymore. But there's more. Dante Bowe is a singer and songwriter known for his involvement in modern worship music. Dante has been involved with Bethel Music, as well as Maverick City Music, two of the most influential Christian groups out there, but he was basically let go from Maverick City Music because of controversy. Lil Nas X is one of the most anti-Christian and demonic music artists out there, whose song Montero is a blatant mockery of the Christian faith. But in an interview, Dante said that he was excited to see Lil Nas X perform.
But you know, the nerves are off, I guess. I'm excited to just see the performers tonight, so yeah.
Who are you looking forward to seeing perform?
Is Lil Nas X performing tonight? I'm looking forward to seeing that. That's gonna be cool, probably. Yeah.
This interview suggested that Dante, despite being a Christian music artist, might be more in love with things in secular culture than a Christian leader probably should be. And then the Bad Bunny incident happened. Bad Bunny is a Puerto Rican artist whose lifestyle and music stand directly against Christian teachings.
And so in this particular clip, Bad Bunny is making out with backup dancers of both sexes, because this is the height of human achievement.
Dante faced significant backlash after he posted a video on social media in which he celebrated and sang along to one of Bad Bunny's songs. A lot of Christians thought that this was inappropriate for someone who represents Christian worship, since this is endorsement of content that conflicts with Christian morality. This controversy, along with the discovery that Dante had posted a nude photo on his Instagram story, ultimately led to Maverick City Music temporarily pausing their professional relationship with Bowe, emphasizing the need for greater accountability and alignment with their values. Again, with Dante, we're seeing an extremely popular, supposedly Christian music artist seem to be more aligned with the world than with the Bible's teachings. But there's more. Maverick City Music is another really popular worship collective, which has made some pretty questionable decisions as well. In October 2024, Maverick City Music faced backlash for collaborating with rapper GloRilla on her album Glorious. Although their joint track, Rain Down on Me, was free of explicit content. That's a blessing. Other songs on the album, such as What You Know About Me, which also features Sexy Red, who is pretty much completely antithetical to the Bible's teachings, contain extremely explicit lyrics. By collaborating with GloRilla on this album, Maverick City Music is basically promoting this album, including the other songs on the album that are completely inappropriate, especially for Christians who understand God's holiness. And then there was the Grammys. At the 2023 Grammys, Maverick City Music won Best Contemporary Christian Music Performance/Song for the song Fear Is Not My Future.
Fear is not my future, you are.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I'm shaking. Everyone in this category is absolutely amazing.
This by itself is fine, but two other things happened at the Grammys that made things more complicated. First, there was an explicitly satanic performance by Sam Smith. So the Grammys was literally promoting Satan and Satan worship, and Maverick City Music both accepted an award from the Grammys and didn't say anything against this complete mockery of the Christian faith. And second, like with GloRilla, Maverick City Music performed a song with Quavo, whose music is also filled with explicit and inappropriate content. Again, it seems that this extremely popular Christian music group is willing to compromise on its Christian beliefs to be associated with and accepted by the secular culture. And when music that is supposed to be Christian loses its distinction from the world and culture, it becomes less and less Christian altogether. Tomlin is a worship leader and songwriter whose music is widely used in Christian worship. I sang tons of Tomlin songs at the church that I became a Christian at. And I still do like a lot of Chris's songs, but in a pretty shocking display of prioritizing opportunity over faithfulness to the true gospel, Kris led worship not just once, but twice at conferences led by Joyce Meyer, who is one of the most blatant proponents of the heretical prosperity gospel, which she has not truly repented of.
The 40th anniversary celebration of the Love Life Women's Conference just got even bigger, with a live concert featuring Chris Tomlin.
I don't think this means nobody should ever listen to or sing Chris Tomlin songs, but it does raise serious concerns about whether many of these mega popular Christian music artists are really qualified to be leading millions of people in worship. Derek Webb is a founding member of Caedmon's Call, a popular contemporary Christian band, but now Derek believes in a radically progressive version of Christianity that is not true Christianity at all. Derek produced a song with a similarly progressive music artist named Flamy Grant called Boys Will Be Girls, where these two men both dressed as women. And Derek attended the Dove Awards, a Christian music awards show, dressed as a woman, along with Flamy Grant and another pro-LGBTQ supposedly Christian music artist named Semler. Derek's story continues to raise the question we've been asking. Why are so many of the most popular Christian music artists turning away from the things that define Christianity? Ren Collective is a popular Northern Irish band that incorporates folk elements into its Christian music. But Chris Llewellyn, the lead singer of this band, faced a lot of backlash when he criticized Christians who don't agree with using pronouns that don't match people's biological sex.
The guy actually that he's responding to and really pushing back on is none other than Bethel's Chris Valentin, which is kind of a funny detail.
However you feel, Chris, not Chris Valentin, the Chris from Rend.
Yes.
However you feel about the implications for sports, a wider conversation for sure, calling a trans woman a man is hateful, unkind. Don't participate in this kind of speech. History won't be kind to you.
So Chris, the lead singer of this popular Christian band, is calling Christians hateful for basically saying that God designed men to be men and women to be women, and he's basically completely agreeing with the left on this issue. Here's another supposed Christian who is leading Christians through music, who clearly has prioritized being accepted by the world and the culture over the clear truth and teachings of the Bible. Lecrae is a popular hip-hop artist who I guess used to be called a Christian artist, but who now seems to be trying to disassociate himself from the label Christian in order to reach a wider audience. I actually really liked Lecrae's first album, especially his song Take Me As I Am.
My life is a mess. Will you take me as I am? Will you take me as I am?
But like with so many of the other music artists we covered so far, Lecrae has been distancing himself from the Bible's clear teachings in order to be acceptable to the world. Here's Lecrae refusing to say what the Bible clearly teaches.
Like, my brother's gay, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, I don't condemn him. I don't look down on him for him being attracted to the opposite sex. You know what I'm saying? That's something.
Same sex.
Yeah, or the same sex, excuse me. I don't condemn him. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything, we'll dialogue so that I can have a better understanding. Because I don't profess to be like, I got this all figured out and I know the way this should be.
Just like what we saw from Lauren Daigle earlier, Lecrae chose to not answer this question, which should be easy to answer from a Christian perspective, but he doesn't want to offend the culture. Lecrae argues that his goal is to reach a wider audience with the Christian message. But by compromising on the very Christian message he is supposed to be communicating, the question is, what exactly is Lecrae presenting to his wider audience? Is it even Christianity anymore? Audrey Assad was a Christian singer and songwriter, but she has gone even further than the other artists we've covered so far by completely turning away from and rejecting the Christian faith.
So, not too long ago, I was on YouTube searching for one of my absolute favorite worship songs of all times, entitled Even Unto Death, performed originally by a young lady by the name of Audrey Assad. And then as I started scrolling a little bit more, I found this video right here where Audrey is explaining the reasons why she is no longer a Christian. And let me tell you guys, my heart just broke.
Again, the question I'm asking over and over is, why does it seem that so many of the most popular Christian music artists have such a weak grasp of the Christian faith? Why are so many of them compromising on or flat out leaving Christian teachings? Jars of Clay is another really popular Christian band. I really like their album Redemption Songs, which was a collection of hymns remade in their unique style. But in April 2014, Dan Haseltine, the lead singer of the band, sparked controversy by expressing support for same-sex marriage on Twitter. He questioned traditional opposition to gay marriage, asking, "Is there a non-speculative or non-slippery slope reason why gays shouldn't marry? I don't hear one." And he went on and on arguing for same-sex marriage and against the Christian view of marriage. This was yet another disappointment from one of the largest and most popular Christian bands. In August 2019, Marty Sampson, a prominent songwriter and worship leader associated with Hillsong Church, publicly expressed significant doubts about his Christian faith. In a now-deleted Instagram post, he stated, "I'm genuinely losing my faith, and it doesn't bother me. I am so happy now, so at peace with the world." Marty, as a worship leader with Hillsong Church, was an extremely visible and prominent Christian music artist. So again, it's disturbing to see that so many of these leaders basically had no real foundation to their supposed Christian faith. But there is some hope. One common theme we saw with many of the popular Christian music artists we covered was their desire to be accepted by the culture and world, which resulted in them compromising on clear and important Christian teachings. But while many music artists do compromise on and even end up leaving the Christian faith, there are many others who remain faithful to all that the Bible teaches and who produce excellent music that is God-centered. I recently attended the Sing Conference, which is an annual event organized by modern hymn writers Keith and Kristyn Getty, and I was really encouraged by their vision regarding rich theology and vibrant singing within churches and communities. And there were a lot of other music artists there who seemed to genuinely be writing great Christian music and who were extremely faithful to the biblical message. Probably my absolute favorite song is a song written by Keith Getty and Stuart Townend called In Christ Alone, which many of you are probably familiar with. I think it's appropriate to end this video with just a little bit from that song. Hey, I'm Mike. If you want to support what I'm doing and help these videos reach more people, would you consider clicking that subscribe button? Thank you so much for watching this video until the end. Here is another one that you might find interesting.